Hello everyone, today we will talk about the movie The House at the End of the Street, which was released in 2012 and became a real thriller for horror fans. This film has become a landmark for many viewers due to its tense atmosphere and unexpected plot twists, starring Jennifer Lawrence and Elizabeth Shue. The film tells the story of a mother and daughter who move to a new city and encounter dark secrets hiding in their neighborhood. Let's take it apart and find out what makes this movie so memorable. Let's start with an introduction to the plot to understand how it all starts. The film begins with Alice and her daughter, Claire, moving into a new house in a quiet town. They hope for a new life after difficult times, leaving their old problems behind. However, as soon as they arrive, Claire begins to notice strange things happening in the neighborhood. She hears whispers and sees shadows that seem familiar to her. Locals warn them about the house at the end of the street where the terrible tragedy occurred. This creates an atmosphere of fear and tension that permeates the entire film. Claire decides to learn more about the house and its history, showing curiosity that can be dangerous. She gets to know the neighbors and starts asking questions but gets evasive answers. The mother tries to dissuade her from this, fearing for her daughter's safety, but Claire can't calm down, and her curiosity only grows. She feels that there is some secret hidden in this house that needs to be revealed. She soon realizes that there is more to this city than just a dark story.
You know that house is the reason why we can even afford to rent this house.
Really?
Yeah. Double murder. Kind of a drag on the real estate market.
Claire decides to explore the house at the end of the street, which was the scene of a gruesome murder. She finds out that a boy named Ryan lived in this house, who became the main suspect in the murder of his parents. The locals are afraid of him and avoid communication, which only fuels Claire's interest. She feels that the truth is hidden behind this story and decides to meet with Ryan. In their first meeting, she discovers that he is not what he is described to be. Ryan turns out to be withdrawn and suffering from trauma, but his eyes are full of pain and loneliness. A friendship develops between Claire and Ryan, which becomes the center of the plot. They begin to share their fears and experiences, which brings them even closer. However, they are still surrounded by fear and distrust from others. Claire begins to realize that not everything is as simple as it seems at first glance. She decides that she must help Ryan despite the warnings of the neighbors. This decision becomes an important step in her life, and she is ready to face dangers for the sake of the truth.
Wouldn't it be sweet if you could be in love with me?
Claire is sure that Ryan is innocent of what happened and decides to find out the truth. She begins to explore old archives and documents related to the tragedy in the house. In the process, she finds old photographs and recordings that may shed light on the events of that day. This decision becomes a turning point in the plot, and Claire realizes that she may be the next victim. She decides that she must act before it is too late. She soon faces opposition from the locals, who don't want her to delve into the past. As the tension builds, Claire begins to feel that her life and Ryan's are in danger. She understands that she must be careful not to incur the wrath of those who want to keep secrets. Claire decides to seek help from her friend who can help her gather information. This decision opens up new horizons, but also puts them at risk. Tension builds as more disappearances begin to occur in the town, and Claire and Ryan find themselves the center of attention. Suspicion falls on them, and the atmosphere in the city becomes increasingly hostile. Locals begin to harass them, demanding explanations and accusing them of being linked to the disappearances. Claire tries to protect Ryan, but his dark past begins to surface, jeopardizing their friendship. Meanwhile, Alice, Claire's mother, becomes increasingly concerned about her daughter's condition and tries to dissuade her from communicating with Ryan. She decides to talk to Ryan to figure out what's going on, but it leads to a conflict. Ryan, feeling the pressure, begins to behave aggressively, which scares Claire and her mother. Soon, Claire is faced with a choice, whether to continue protecting Ryan or distance herself from him for the sake of her safety. The tension reaches its peak when Claire discovers that she is becoming a target herself. She realizes that she must find a way to solve the mystery before it is too late for everyone. Claire decides it's time to reveal the truth about Ryan and his past. She collects all the evidence she could find and begins to put together a picture of what happened. In the process, she comes across new facts that change her perception of Ryan. Claire realizes that he is not only a victim, but may also be connected to the events taking place. She decides to talk to Ryan to get his point of view. In their conversation, Ryan reveals to Claire his fears and worries, telling her how he became a victim of local rumors. This strengthens their bond, and Claire realizes that she must help him clear his name. They decide to confront the locals together and uncover the truth. Claire and Ryan begin to plan how they can do this, but realize it could be dangerous. As the tension builds, they realize that time is against them.
Wow, her eyes are so blue. Your family looks really happy. It must have been nice. Having everyone together. Having two parents.
Claire tries to calm the crowd down, explaining that they need to figure out the situation rather than succumb to fear and prejudice. However, this only inflames the anger of the locals, and they begin to accuse Ryan of new crimes. Claire realizes that they are in danger and tries to get Ryan out of the situation. At that moment, one of the locals, who is particularly aggressive, rushes at Ryan. A mess ensues, and Claire realizes that they must escape. They escape into the woods, where Claire tries to find shelter. At this time, Ryan begins to panic, and Claire realizes that his mental state is deteriorating. She tries to calm him down and assure him that they will find a way to prove his innocent. The tension reaches its peak when they hear the locals searching for them in the forest. Claire decides that they have to go back and face the truth despite the fear. She realizes that only together they can overcome all obstacles. Claire and Ryan return to town to find out the truth about what happened at the house. They decide to investigate the house itself where the tragedy occurred in the hope of finding clues that will help them. Inside, they face the same fears and memories that haunted Ryan. Claire finds old records that can confirm his innocence. She begins to realize that the tragedy was the result of misunderstanding and fear. Ryan, being with Claire, begins to feel more confident and openly shares his memories. They find evidence that can change the opinion of local residents. Claire decides that they should show this evidence to everyone in order to clear Ryan's name. She understands that it can be dangerous, but she's willing to take the risk for the truth. Their friendship grows stronger, and they realize that they can count on each other in any situation. Claire and Ryan decide to hold a meeting with the locals to present their evidence. They realize that this is their last chance to change people's minds and save Ryan. At the meeting, Claire gives a speech explaining how fear and prejudice led to the tragedy. She shows the audience the evidence she found, which confirms Ryan's innocence. However, the crowd remains wary and distrustful. At this point, one of the locals, who is against Ryan, starts threatening them. The tension reaches its peak, and Claire realizes that they could lose everything. However, at the most critical moment, Ryan finds the strength to come forward and tell his story. He shares his experiences and fears, and it starts to change the mood in the crowd. Gradually, people begin to realize that they were wrong and begin to support Ryan. Eventually, they accept him as part of the community, and Claire feels relieved. This becomes the culmination of their struggle for truth and justice. After Claire and Ryan achieve justice, their lives begin to change for the better. The locals begin to accept Ryan, and he finds support in his new surroundings. Claire and her mother are starting a new life, leaving their fears and worries behind. They become closer to each other, and their relationship strengthens. Claire understands that friendship and support can overcome any obstacles. Ryan, in turn, begins to feel like a part of society and finds hope for the future. He decides to move on with his life and leave the past behind. Claire and Ryan become good friends, and their bond becomes a symbol of overcoming fear. They plan the future together and dream of new adventures. This is a new stage in their lives which is full of hope and opportunities. The film House at the End of the Street shows how fear and prejudice can destroy lives, but also how friendship and courage can lead to healing. Claire and Ryan become symbols of hope for all who face difficulties. Their story reminds us of the importance of understanding and support, especially in difficult times. Each of us may face bias, but it is important not to lose faith in people and in ourselves. The film leaves viewers with questions about how we perceive others and how important it is to be open to new opportunities. This is not just a horror story, but also about friendship, love, and overcoming difficulties. Thanks to the excellent acting and intense plot, The House at the End of the Street remains in the audience's memory for a long time. hope you enjoyed this review and will be able to look at the film from a new perspective. Thanks for watching.
Are you ready to go? Yeah.
If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like it, and leave a comment. See you soon.